You know, my dog, when it sees a cat, you know, it has a lot of energy. And no one needed to tell it what to do. It goes after that cat. It becomes mean to that cat. So that's a bit normal what happens with dogs. Is there any other reason to say this picture looks fake? Why would we choose that? Because the cat is also walking very close to these dogs. Now, most cats, if they saw this whole group of dogs, they would already be up a tree. And so this cat is making a very surprising choice of walking that close to the group of dogs. That looks a little bit surprising.
I make it walking through the water.
Yeah, the cat is walking through a little bit of water that's on the ground. Yeah. Those of you who think this picture is real, what motivates you to think the picture is real?
Yes. I suppose that these dogs used to live with dead
So maybe they're all friends, right? And they grew up together, and you know. I think friends who have both dogs and cats in the same house, and they don't always fight, so that's possible.
Yes, I have seen it.
You see, yeah.
I have it.
You have a cat there, and they live together okay. Yeah. Why else might we look at this picture and go, I think it's true?
I think it's a normal situation that unusual things happen in a person.
So unusual things can happen. So we shouldn't say, hey, this could never happen. It's surprising, but it might. Yes.
I think those dogs are canine dogs.
Yes.
So if they have enough control to, go and look for drugs and stop criminals, I think they would just have this self-control to not go after the cat.
Yeah. Well, and that is why this picture is real. This is a part of dog training, because if you want to be working with a police dog, you actually need a dog that's better trained than the average dog. So if you can imagine a police officer that has his dog with him, he goes someplace because he hears there is a robbery taking place. And he's there with his dog, and they see the robber. And so both of them start running after the robber, and it's great that the dog is so fast. But as the dog is running after the robber, it sees the cat. And the dog goes whoosh right after the cat. Now here's the police officer, and now he has a new decision to make. Do I go after the robber, or do I chase my dog? What should I be doing? This is not a place where a police officer needs to be. If he has a dog, the dog is supposed to do what the dog is trained to do. And so they have to get ready. They have to anticipate situations like this. And they have to teach the dogs to have a higher level of self-control, because the dogs have a higher goal than the dogs at my house. The dogs at my house, they have a very simple goal. They're friendly. They love you. If you come to my house, my dogs will be with you all the time. But these dogs, they are being trained to protect people. They are being trained to help society. And these dogs are learning self-control. Now, if you take a look at these dogs, even dogs have different personalities. Some of those dogs, you can almost see that they're sitting there going, man, I wish you were my lunch. Some of them are really looking at that cat. And some of the dogs are so well trained, they're like, yeah, we did this yesterday. Yeah, I got the lesson. I figured it out. And, these two dogs right here, though, they're ready to just get that cat. It's an amazing picture. It makes you ask the question, who trained the dogs? It makes you ask the question, who trained the cat? Because the cat is in a very, very dangerous situation. Training can lead to higher levels of self-control. If you have those higher levels, it can be very beneficial. If you don't, it can be very embarrassing. Some of you can describe this scene for me. Does anyone remember what happened here? Mike Tyson, I think he's one of the strongest, physically strongest people in our generation. As a fighter, unbelievable in his strength. As a person with a broad self-control, not really. He spent a lot of time in prison. Although he makes millions of dollars through his fights, generally speaking, he's broke and in debt because all that money just goes. And in this fight with Evander Holyfield, he had some sort of impulse, and he bites Evander Holyfield's ear for the entire world to see. Very embarrassing moment for Mr. Mike Tyson. A lot of physical strength, not as much self-control as he needs to live the life that he wants to live. I don't think he wanted to spend all those days in prison that he spent there. When we take a look at the topic of self-control, there's some things that are involved in self-control. It starts with the ability to resist and delay the temptation to act. That is a very important ability to have. Because not everything that goes through our mind, not every thought or emotion that pushes us in a direction is going to help us achieve our goals. Some of them can be very dangerous. When I was a university student, I spent time on every weekend. I was a volunteer at a U.S. penitentiary. And the prison that I was volunteering at was a prison for men between the ages of 14 and 18 who had all committed very serious crimes. It was either murder or rape or something that was pretty bad. And this prison was full of people. And I was volunteering there because I thought, well, you know, maybe the guys here, it would be helpful if they could start finding a new path in life. And so I would go on the weekend and we would have discussions. Not too different than these discussions. I'd be in a group of about 8 guys and we'd have a topic and I'd ask questions and we'd talk about it. One day at Valley View Prison, the topic that everybody was discussing was the topic of temptation. Pretty common topic. And I remember what one guy said that was sitting to my left. When we talked about temptation, this is what he said to me. Temptation? Oh, when you feel temptation, you just got to do it. You just got to do it. And I'm like, well, no, you don't really have to do it. No. When you feel temptation, you just got to do it. And for the entire hour that we had a discussion, this person held to his belief that when I feel temptation, I must do it. And my thought when I finished that day at Valley View Prison was, if I believed what this guy believed, I would also be in Valley View Prison. Would I not? I mean, when I have a temptation to react, when I have a temptation to get vengeance, revenge, if I acted on all of that, do you think that my government would let me walk free in society? I would be a huge danger to society if I had to do everything that I was tempted to do. Well, I understood why that person is in Valley View Prison. Because he decided that when it comes to self-control, he's already said, I can't do it, and I won't do it. And that's why at age 17, he was getting ready to spend most of his life in prison. Self-control is also the ability to be composed in emotionally charged situations. It's easy to be composed when everything is quiet and easy and peaceful. But when the tensions go up and when the level of stress gets higher, can we be composed then? It will require self-control. Because those little emotions come as dictators and they tell us that we need to act in a certain way. Self-control is the ability to understand what causes aggressive and negative emotions and behavior. I eventually need to understand what is it that gets me going crazy, that makes me go to the edge and pushes me beyond the edge, if I understand those things, I might learn how to avoid those things. And then it's also the ability to tolerate frustration. And I want to talk about this for a little bit. It's the ability to tolerate frustration. Now, there's something that I believe is true about most everyone in this room, and I like that it is true. Most of you are here because you do have higher goals, and most of you have goals that will involve leadership in your life. Most of you kind of hope that when you get a job, you probably won't stay at the lowest level of the job. Hopefully when you get a job, you'll start moving up in the company. And one day you'll have people who report to you and maybe departments that report to you, and you will be a leader who has significant responsibilities. Am I talking to the right group of people? That's what you're thinking about, yeah. And that's why you're here at this seminar, because you have these higher goals. Well, there's one perspective that we all need to start talking about more, because this is just true. If you want to be involved in leadership, you will be involved in extra amounts of frustration. If you have not thought about that yet, it is time for you to start thinking about it. To be involved in leadership is to invite extra levels of frustration into your life. Do you know why that's true? Because every problem that cannot be solved at the lowest level, where does that problem go? It goes up to the next level. And a problem that cannot be solved at this level because it's so difficult, where does that problem go? It goes up to the next level. And the higher you go in leadership, the more frustration you are inviting in your life, because you are the person who is responsible to help solve the most difficult problems that there are. And you all want to be leaders. Well, that's part of what goes with being a leader. And so as you have a goal in life to be involved in leadership, your need to be involved in self-control is higher than the average person. Now, you probably know that sometimes your dad or your mom worked for somebody who did not have very good self-control. Did you ever hear those stories at home? Yeah. Dad came home and he was mad, and mom came home and she was angry, and the way that the upper level leadership was not prepared to deal with frustration, it just affected their lives, because leadership deals with extra amounts of frustration. And so my comment to all of you is, don't avoid it, just get ready for it and be honest about what's coming. Leaders eat frustration for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is what we do. And if we're ready to do that, then we can do a good job. If we are not ready to do that, we should not be trying to be leaders, because it's always involved. A person with self-control has the ability to resist a few things as well. They can resist anger. They can resist the tendency to be abusive, and that happens. From a higher position of leadership and authority, somebody lets their emotions fly, boom, people are hurt, and they're injured. And it is abusive because they're not really, the other people aren't allowed to really talk back in some environments. And it's the ability to resist unpredictable and explosive behavior. That all comes from good self-control. Now, the idea of controlling emotions is not an easy idea. And we should ask the question, to what degree can we really control emotions? Is it possible to fully control them, to partially control them? What are my options here? And my current opinion is that it is possible to partially control emotions, but I don't think that anyone here has a chance to control all emotions that you're going to feel in life. I don't see it happening. So there are some aspects of emotions that are too difficult for us to control. So what are we going to do about that in order for us to have self-control? Well, we're going to talk about an illustration. And the illustration is going to be an illustration of modern warfare. I'm going to ask you a technical question that's going to require your imagination and your understanding of science. From the time that guns were invented until about the year 1850, every gun that was fired, be it a rifle or be it a pistol, had one kind of sound that it made. Starting in about the year of 1850, when guns were fired, the sound of the gunfire changed. Do you know why the sound of the gunfire changed starting around the year of 1850? What suggestions do you have?
I'm guessing the powder changed.
The powder changed? Yeah, they are increasing the strength of the powder, but it is not the sound of the powder that changed. They got better powder, but it is not the sound of the powder igniting that created the change in noise.
The shape of the bullet?
The shape of the bullet was also improved. It is not the shape of the bullet that creates the sound.
The shape of the pistol?
Yeah, they did a good job of learning how to rifle the inside of it. They improved the technology of it, but the shape of the gun does not create the unique sound.
The problem is the way we listen.
The speed.
The speed. Very good. You see, there is something which is called the speed of sound. The speed of sound travels at 331 meters a second, which is really, really fast. And all the way through the year of 1850, when a gun was fired, the bullet was always moving slower than the speed of sound. Starting in 1850, the combined technological advances of better gunpowder, better gun design, better shell design, gave man the capacity to fire a bullet that now goes faster than the speed of sound. In modern warfare today, the average rifle, not even the special one, the average rifle that a soldier uses, when the bullet leaves the barrel of the gun, it is traveling basically 3 times the speed of sound. And the sound that you hear in modern warfare is the sound of the bullet breaking the sound barrier. Yes, thank you. Now, if that's true, here's something that you have to understand as a soldier. In modern warfare, you will be hit by the bullet before you hear the sound of the gun firing. How do you feel today as a soldier? Wow, I'm feeling really good. So you mean I'm going to be hit first, and then I'm going to hear bang. Thank you. Great. So I'm not liking this idea of being a soldier now. In modern warfare, how do you survive? You have to survive differently. How do you survive in modern warfare? You survive based on your capacity to predict where the bullets will fly. That's all that modern warfare is about. You look at the area of the battlefield and you say, if anybody is in that zone, they are dead. They are just dead. If you walk out there, you are dead. So the only way that we can move is if we move this way and if we move that way, and we hope for someone really stupid over there to walk in their zone in which they're dead. And that's how you live in modern warfare. It is all about prediction. The parallel between modern warfare and emotions, I think, is an excellent, excellent parallel. You see, there are some emotions that are so fast and so powerful that by the time they hit, it is almost too late to do anything because they will hit you like a truck hits you when you cross the street. And if you do not predict that that emotion is coming, if you do not see it coming, the way that you will react is beyond your complete control. You can't control all of it. And so in our dealing with emotions, it becomes extremely important for us to start learning how to predict our emotions. Do you think it's possible for you to predict your emotions? I think that you can actually get really good at predicting your emotions. You're working in a team of people, and there is this one person that really drives you crazy. I'm sorry, it's right. And if I think about my emotions, it seems like every time I say something, this person always says the exact opposite, no matter what I do. You do that, don't you? Yes. And so if I know that this person already does it, do you realize that I can prepare myself emotionally before I get into the meeting? Because I can say, look, it's coming. I know it's coming. He always does this. And so I get a chance to prepare for that or to not prepare for that. If I don't prepare for it, after his first comment, I shut down. It's over. I'm not playing this game anymore. If I prepare for it, I go, I'm waiting for it, there it comes, I'm still playing, I'm waiting for it, there it comes, I'm still playing, and I'm not exploding because I predict that the emotion is coming. I'll give you a very simple story of prediction. I showed you a picture of my daughter, Christy. A couple years ago, she had her 11th birthday. And great time when kids have their birthday. What do you think my daughter wanted to do on her birthday? Oh, she wanted to invite her friends over for her birthday. And how long did she want this birthday party to be? What do you think? All day and all night. Hey, come on over and spend the night. Okay, we'll do that, Christy. And so 13 little 11-year-old girls came to my house. 13 of them. No, we do not have 13 beds. No, we do not have 13 pillows. I've got little girls everywhere. So it's Christy's birthday. Now, most of these little girls, they go to bed between 9 and 9:30 at night. That's what they do every day when they're at home with their parents. But they come to our house for a birthday party. Do you think that they go to bed between 9 and 9:30? No, this is Friday. And so Christy has already asked, Dad, can we stay up until midnight? Okay. Wow. Okay. So it's now past midnight, and I'm trying to get these little girls to be quiet, and they finally go to sleep somewhere around 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay, are you starting to see a problem? Do you see the problem that's coming? Yeah. So the following morning, about 6 o'clock in the morning, one of these girls wakes up. And what did that one girl do? She woke up all of her friends because they enjoy being with each other so much. Let's start the party now. So they have had 5 hours of sleep. And so I am in my room, and my wife and I, we are asleep, and we start to hear all of the sound of the girls, and they're running, and they're laughing, and they're yelling, and and my wife says to me, Dave, we've got to get up and make these girls breakfast. And what I said to Sherry was this: oh, no, we don't. She's like, Dave, these are girls from other families. We need to be kind. We need to be good hosts. I said, I'm not getting up. And she's like, how can you say that? And this is what I told my wife. I said, Sherry, right now when these girls woke up, they've got a lot of energy and they're having some fun. But honestly, at about 8:30 this morning, they're all going to start becoming little monsters because they didn't sleep enough. And they're going to get mad at each other, and they're going to start having arguments with each other starting around 8:30. Now that's 2 hours from now. And so I am going to sleep until 8. Because when I get up in the morning, I have to be ready to deal with all of the little monsters. because their parents are not coming until 11. And between 8:30 and 11, I do not want to kill any of these little girls.